right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We greet you here, as well as Green Tree, Foster Plaza, which is where Andrew Fillipponi is right now. On PM team, Andrew was busy doing the Jim Rome show today, so I got to first start by saying, how did that go today on a national platform?
We just simulcast the Bob Pompeani show is what we did. We just potted you up. You were hosting from 10 to 2. No, I'm just kidding. It was good.
Send me the check, Andrew. Send me the check.
Yeah. Yeah, residuals. Yeah, look, it was a thrill to do it. It was kind of a career kind of open your eyes kind of thing when you get an opportunity like that. But the Bill Walton situation really came out of nowhere, Bob, and that broke while we were both on the air this afternoon.
Yes, it did.
And I was really saddened by it. I'm 71 years old, the 1977 NBA MVP, but way more than that. I mean, his personality, his zest for life, how really weird and strange he was, and the way he conveyed that as a broadcaster made him super interesting. And so, yeah, it was just tough to kind of see that and have to react to it in real time.
Yeah, I mean, a guy who was very different in what he did, and I had no idea he was dealing with cancer. He was supposed to appear at the Blair County Sports Hall of Fame, something I emceed back in January or February, was it, whatever month it was, and then he canceled, and I wasn't sure exactly why. So Dr. J filled in, and that night we talked a little bit about Bill Walton, and I don't think he knew either. But, you know, Walton was a #1 overall pick, had those championships back in the day, both in college and at the pro level. Very different, unique perspective, and the people who had to do play-by-play with him had to be aware of what he was going to say. Dave Pasch and company, it's not easy sometimes when he's sitting there coming up with a lot of different approaches to talking about the Conference of Champions, as he did so often. But, man, it goes to show you also, Andrew, I say it every time I see something like this, is that, you know, you never know how long it's going to be. You never know how much time you have, and so you better make it a good day every day because it could end very quickly. And 71, to me, from my point of view, is a very young age.
Yeah, someone that obviously had a lot of time that he spent injured with foot injuries and knee injuries, and really, even though he was an all-time great, I think kept him from being one of the best to ever do it, at least in the NBA. His college career at UCLA is hard to top. But, yeah, Bob, I don't think Bill Walton wasted a single day. He was just so into everything that life had to offer, and it's sad when we lose people like that because most of the commentary and analysis on him has been the way that he would light up a room and make everybody feel like he was their friend the minute they saw him and met him. So,
yeah, no question.
Yeah, that was sad to see. 71, Bill Walton.
Yeah, out of nowhere. I really had no idea he was dealing. I don't think anyone really did. Those close to him certainly did. Which brings us to our GMC Sierra tweet of the day because it's about Joe Walton and a lot of people who he touched throughout his career, both as a player and also a coach and a broadcaster. And Sean Miller was one of them. And, of course, Sean Miller, from this area, had so many years in Arizona, has moved on to a long career himself. And this is what he put up. Bill Walton was the most positive, enthusiastic, unique, and funny person I have met. In the 12 years I was at Arizona, I had the great fortune to be around Bill, interact with him as a colleague, a mentor, and friend. He introduced himself to me at every game day shoot-around, same way. Coach, hi, I'm Bill. He left me with some of the most iconic voice messages a man can receive. I've saved them all. He knew the names of my wife, my kids, and always asked me how my dad was doing. And he loved the Pac-12. I don't think there's any question about that. He showed that every time. That's from Sean Miller on Bill Walton, who passed away today at 71. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Pirates, who have a day off today and need to get their bullpen going. They're in Detroit tomorrow. You're going to see Jones. You're going to see Skeens in back-to-back days. We'll get into that and with something going on tonight in the NHL and NBA playoffs. T.J. McConnell took a wicked hand to the face. I thought he was going to be in concussion protocol, and voila, he stayed in the game. We'll talk about that with Andrew. Give us a call here at 412-575-2600. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're live on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. All right, welcome back. We continue live right here, KDK Plus and 93.7 The Fan. Bob Pompeani along with Andrew Fillipponi here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Call that hotline and let us know what you think. Indiana has just been eliminated. That's twice now they had leads. The other game was an 18-point lead. They had Boston come back and win that game 3. And tonight, game 4, 105-102, despite a really good performance by T.J. McConnell, took a hand to the face by Jaylen Brown. So the streak remains intact. Never before has a team down 3-0 won a playoff series in the NBA, and that is the cruel reality if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, because they have that same deficit against Luka, Kyrie Irving, and the Mavericks. Are you surprised that this is so easy for Boston so far, Pony?
No, because of all the great luck they've gotten in terms of their opponents and the injuries in the Eastern Conference. They're getting through to the finals because they're the last team standing. The top dogs for each team have gotten hurt. Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland down the road from us, or up the road from us, I guess. In the first round, Jimmy Butler didn't play. Tyrese Halliburton got hurt with a hamstring injury. Joel Embiid wasn't 100%. The Knicks players like Julius Randle missed the playoffs. Jalen Brunson wouldn't have been able to play in the conference finals because of his broken hand. I honestly have not been that impressed with Boston. I think that they've been on paper the much better team, and they've allowed for teams much inferior to them to hang around. And if they pull that stunt against Dallas in the finals, Mark Cuban's going to have a second Larry O'Brien trophy to put in his living room because he's going to win another NBA championship with the Dallas Mavericks.
But I will say that Kristaps Porzingis has not played. He's been out for, I think, 9 or 10 games. They thought he might play tonight. They're going to give some rest more for him. He should be ready to go. And he was a big piece of their early success in that season. So that's somebody that can help them, being somebody fresh who hasn't played in a while, coming off an injury. We'll see. Let's go to our number one Cochrane Go One Better caller of the night, and that would be Bert in Bell Vernon. Bert, what's going on?
Guys, thanks. Yeah. Bill Walton was the best college basketball player I ever saw. And for about a year and a half, he was as good as anybody who ever played in the pros, I thought. Moving on to Luka Doncic, he's finally arrived. He's finally got the clutch aspect of his game down. I think the Celtics will win, though, if Horford can play. I think he's the key. I think Doncic is still a little too soft with his conditioning.
Soft? No, he just plays in his tempo, which is his motion. And you saw it the other night when he hit the game-winning 3. After the switch that was made, and Rudy Gobert could not keep up with him. As he said afterwards, yeah, I'm slow, but I know I could beat him. So Doncic plays in a way that is just hard to try to figure out. So I'm not surprised. But I was surprised the other night, and I forget who it was. I believe it was Stan Van Gundy who made the comment that he thinks that Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are the best backcourt ever, which is a little too premature for me to say that, given some of the best ones, most recently Golden State. Andrew, did you hear that comment, and what did you think of it?
Well, I think from a scoring perspective, he's right. I mean, I don't think any team
better
has
than
had a point
better
guard
than Steph Curry and better than Klay Thompson together when they were winning 4 championships.
Well. Here's why. Yeah, here's why. As far as Thompson goes, now that's the best shooting backcourt in NBA history for me.
Okay.
Those two guys could make 3-point shots better as a tandem than any guards who played together in league history. But they don't possess, especially Thompson, he can't beat you in the variety of ways that Luka and Kyrie can. And what makes them, in my opinion, better from an all-around offensive standpoint is they make bad shots. They make tough shots. Perfect defense doesn't work consistently enough against those two guys. I'm shocked that they have coexisted and they've been able to work together, because I thought they both needed the ball in their hands nonstop and that they weren't going to be able to complement each other and defer to one another the way that they have. That's just not Kyrie's MO. It wasn't. He wanted out of Cleveland. He wanted out of Boston. He wanted out of Brooklyn. So he turned over a new leaf, and that, for whatever reason, there's a lot of theories there, but the way that he's been able to find the symbiotic relationship with Luka, they brought out the best in each other.
No,
and I didn't think they could, Bob,
agree.
because they more or less play the same position. You know, they more or less do the same things on the court.
Kyrie is almost like he's found an area that he finally feels comfortable in. And you're right, it was kind of an unusual situation because he's the guy who wants to have the ball last. But I think maybe his maturity, being around a while and going through the things he's gone through at those destinations you said, has helped him throughout this. Mike in Brighton Township is our next caller. Hey, Mike, what's up?
Hey, Bob. Hey, Pony. I wanted to talk about the amazement I had of the Celtics to be able, when the series started, I really thought that Indiana's pace, pun intended, but their speed would be a little bit difficult for some of the elder backcourt like Horford and everybody to keep up with, but that wasn't a problem at all. So I see no problem with them going ahead and just taking care of Dallas.
I think it was a problem in Game 1. Indiana should have won that game. They let them off the hook, and in Game 3, the same thing. They had 2 games they should have won, and this should not have been a 4-game sweep.
Well, they didn't have a third-team All-NBA player in Game 3. They didn't have one of the best. They didn't have their best player. If you take Jason Tatum away from the Celtics, it's a different series. So it's just hard to win in the NBA when you don't have your stars. Look at Milwaukee. They lost Giannis, and Lillard was way less than 100%, and that's how Indiana got out of the first round to begin with. If those 2 guys are healthy, Indiana, I love TJ, and he had a great year, and he's going to make a lot of money in free agency, and I'm so happy to see him and his family enjoying the fruits of his labor. But, Bob, if Giannis and Dame Lillard are healthy, they don't win that first-round series. I don't care how fast they play.
Oh, I agree. What I'm saying, though, is that Game 3, even without Halliburton, they were up by 18 points. You don't blow an 18-point lead at home.
That's why I agree with you, and I disagree with the caller. I think Indiana's pace did give Boston problems,
right.
And if they had their best player, they probably would have been more. They would have been more competitive in the series. They could have been up 2-1 going into tonight's game.
Yeah, you can't let Boston off the hook because they will close you out when given a chance. Let's go out to Carl in West Mifflin, who joins us here. Hey, Carl, what's up?
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Hey, I wanted to ask you a question. If Warren have a better year than Harris coming up, is Harris gone next year?
Yeah, are you talking about the Steelers running backs now? We switch gears there. Yes, if Jaylen Warren has, I think Najee Harris has probably gone any way you look at it. I don't know that he's going to want to stay here, knowing that Warren is cut into his carries. And if Warren still continues to elevate his game the way he has over the last couple of years, he will be the guy that they build around. They'll bring in some other running back. I don't think that's a shock. It shouldn't be a shock, right? I mean, can you paint a scenario where Najee's back for another year here after this year, Andrew?
If he's willing to take a very short-term deal and he comes off a good year and it doesn't look like there's tremendous wear and tear in that situation, maybe, but I don't think that he's going to do that. I don't think he's going to want that. So, no, it seems pretty far-fetched to me right now that Najee Harris would extend his relationship with the Steelers beyond this season.
Yeah, that doesn't mean he won't have an opportunity if he has a monster year, for example. Warren gets injured, and all of a sudden, though, the problem there is he becomes a free agent, and as a free agent, he'll get some other looks. Although the money, I don't know how much money he can expect in that situation, right? I mean, that's a position that doesn't get a lot of money to begin with. His option was only $7 million in that range. Normally for fifth-year option players at tackle, at corner, at whatever other position you want, they're big-time money.
A lot of those guys did get paid as free agents this year, though. Saquon Barkley to Philly, short-term deal, I know. Derrick Henry, same thing, short-term deal, got big money. Aaron Jones to Minnesota. Josh Jacobs to Green Bay. But these guys, even though many of them are much older than Najee Harris, have had more productive seasons than Najee. Najee's been consistent in that he's been a 1,000-yard producer, but look at what you need per game to average 1,000 yards. Okay, right. It's not even 70 yards per game. He only had those 2 100-yard games late in the season. They were big ones, but it was kind of a late season flourish, and that's it. So I applaud the Steelers for not picking up that 50-year option just because Najee was a first-round pick 5 years ago.
Just out of curiosity, did you get a lot of conversation? I know you're doing a national show today, but on Cam Hayward, did you bring that up as a situation, given the fact that he is the Walter Payton Man of the Year?
Yeah, I did not bring that up. We had a huge discussion about that on the showdown last night. Bob, were there some jaw-dropping comments on that show, or was it just me? Kabali said Russell Wilson's going to play all 17 games no matter what.
No matter what. I don't know about that one. Just because,
me neither.
I mean, it could be an
disagree with
injury.
that vehemently.
If they start 2-4 and they haven't done much on offense, Mike Tomlin has an affinity for Justin Fields. You know, I mean,
exactly.
So I would never say 17 games. I don't think there's any doubt he'll start the season as QB1. But, you know, as far as Cam is, I somehow got to believe they'll figure this out. It'll be give and take on both sides. But, you know, it's just a little surprising that it's come to this point.
Well, let me ask you this, and I love Cam, but would you even want to give him 2025 at the same price they're going to pay him in 2024 right now?
I would not mind.
Would you do that?
I would not mind the same price on a one-year extension. If he wants, you know, some of this bigger money, then I'd have a problem. And with all due respect, just because 35, 36, it's a whole different game, I think, for people.
Exactly.
That's the only thing, and that's why I think this is a difficult topic for the Steelers. We're going to take a break, come back with more. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We do it 7 nights a week, so don't be a stranger, right here on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. KDK News at 11 starts at about 6 minutes from right now. Jessica Guay is at the anchor desk tonight. Jess.
Hey, Bob. So here's what we're working on. We're digging into why a state trooper was arrested and charged with burglary and assault in Fayette County over the weekend. We'll share what we know right now. Plus, today is Memorial Day, so we're going to take a look at how community members and veterans honored those who gave their lives for our country. And it's going to be a damp start to the work week for many people tomorrow. Meteorologist Ray Petlin is in to give us a look at our first alert forecast. That's all coming up and more on KDKA News at 11. We'll see you then.
All right, Jess, thanks very much. Chuck in Uniontown, I appreciate you calling again, but we're running out of time, so call earlier tomorrow, and we'll get you on concerning the Pirates who take on Detroit. But I wanted to ask you, Andrew, about Dallas. I love the Dallas Stars, and tonight they spotted Edmonton a 2-0 lead, but they come back strong with 3 goals, and they have awakened some of their young guys who hadn't scored in a while, like specifically Jason Robertson. That's a deep team, and one I think can win the Cup.
Yeah, they roll 4 lines, and Scotty Bowman told me on the Jim Rome show today that he likes them to win this series, and he's going Panthers over Rangers, even though they're down 2-1.
Sounds like me. I appreciate that. Thanks, Pony. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you again
Bob.
tomorrow night. Good night, everyone.